All right, so how we doing, everybody? Let me get a drink here. Sorry about that. Listen, we got a little Sunday fun for everybody. I was told since we deal in music, we need to do some top tens. Okay? And somebody suggested albums that changed music. Sure, why not? We can do that. So that's what we got today. We got the top 10 rock and roll albums that changed music forever. Now, I can't wait to see this to see if we agree with it or, there's some that should have been in there and shouldn't have been in there and what have you. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a little fun here. If there's something y'all want to see on the Sunday Fun Day, we're glad to do that. Happy to do it. And if you want me to make a list, I'll be happy to do that as well. Stuff we've done, stuff we haven't done, it makes no difference to me. We'll have a good time with it. Okay? Don't forget to join us this evening. We got a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time live, 5 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join us. Have a drink with us. We'll talk a little bit. We'll joke around. We'll have some fun. And we'll get ready for a new week because we got a big one. Got a lot of fun this week on all three channels. This one, the K-PopZ Channel, and the Patreon. Got a lot going on. A lot of good times, y'all. So stick with us, all right? Thank you for joining us. For those that are brand new with us, welcome to the channel. We're glad to have you. Want to shout out Watch Mojo for this. This is their list. So let's find out what we got. Y'all ready? All right, let's go.
Ten, Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution.
Ooh.
The term fusion can refer to a lot of things, from the jazz fusion boom of the early 70s to albums outside of that spectrum that still juxtapose many seemingly disparate elements. Purple Rain was one such album, a potent blend of funk, rock, psychedelia, and pop that somehow all came together at the perfect time.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Prince's captivating visual aesthetic and genuine aura of mystery helped create Purple Rain mania among both his established fans as well as those coming from the pop music realm.
I only want to see you landing in the purple rain.
This was radio.
Okay, it's a great soundtrack. It really is. It's a fantastic soundtrack. It was a good movie. I don't know that I would call it a rock album, though, because it is a fusion album. There's a lot of different genres on that album. It's not a rock album, per se. There is some rock on it. That's a tough one. I would put that more in the great soundtracks album than I would rock and roll albums, personally. But y'all tell me what you think.
Radio-friendly music that still managed to sound dangerous. A mixture of sleaze and class that could have only been delivered by the Purple One. And delivered in style. Number 9. London Calling, The Clash. There are a number of names that can lay claim to being there at the earliest days of punk. Both Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, and the self-titled debut from Ramones are absolute watersheds. London Calling was something a bit different, however, an album that signified both change and progression.
London calling to the zombies of death. Quit holding out and draw another breath.
The Clash had already proved themselves with two
Yeah, I'd put that one on there. Yeah, because it was really a change. It brought punk and rock together, right? Punk was completely different than rock, but it brought punk and rock together on one album. It was a really, really good album. Yeah, I'd put that one in the top 10. Yeah, I would say so.
fiery full-lengths prior to London Calling, and it was time to show critics and fans that punk rock wasn't just a fad. The album contains a wide swath of diverse influences, from reggae and ska to rockabilly, and was musically inspired in a way much different from The Clash's peers.
All lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily.
To paraphrase the Oscar-winning film, London Calling is everything, everywhere, all at once. Number 8. Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
The birth of the heavy metal genre is similar to punk rock in that there are a number of debated first offenders. One thing's for sure though, nothing quite captured the doom and gloom atmosphere of Black Sabbath's self-titled debut at the time. This was an album.
Yeah. The birth of heavy metal. Plain and simple, period. My opinion. And I've seen Black Sabbath. I'm telling you. The doom and gloom that they brought really brought out the metal in metal. It was like, an unbendable piece of iron. Whew. Great album.
Album that may have possessed its fair share of blues influences, but it took those dreary tones and twisted them into something sinister sounding. This is an album that opens with howling wind, driving rain, ominous church bells, and that riff. The title track to Black Sabbath pretty much says it all, really. Tony Iommi's utilization of the tritone interval makes this the devil's music. Darkness made flesh that went on to permanently cement heavy metal as a worldwide phenomenon. Number 7. Are You Experienced? The Jimi Hendrix Experience. Jimi Hendrix certainly wasn't the first guitar player to bust out some flashy theatrics on stage. However, one could also argue that Are You Experienced from the Jimi Hendrix Experience helped usher in the age of the guitar hero.
Oh, shucks. Foxy lady.
That's because no one had seen anyone quite like Jimmy before. The pomp, the circumstance, the absolute fretboard bombast. This was scorched earth playing that took the blues, amplified it to 11, and laid waste to all pretenders.
That's a tough one too, because that album had a lot of influence from a lot of different genres as well, right? Although I would put Jimmy as one of the greatest guitarists, I don't know that I would put that album on a top 10. Top 20, top 25? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about top 10, though.
There's a jazzy tightness to the rhythm section of Mitch Mitchell and Noel Redding that always reins in Jimmy's extravagant playing. It's this combination of virtuoso musicianship and devil-may-care attitude that immediately sent everyone rushing to their collective bedrooms, eager to practice and catch up to Jimmy's level.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Number 6. Bringing It All Back Home. Bob Dylan. People listen to music in a variety of different ways. Sometimes the lyrics are a secondary thought. However, Bob Dylan's Bringing It All Back Home helped shift the perception of rock and pop music wordplay, bringing it some real attention on an international scale.
Look out, kid, no matter what you do. Walk on your tiptoes, don't tie no bows.
Here was a musician that came from the folk scene, a genre often known for its confessional style of lyricism. Yet by going electric in 1965, Bob Dylan paved the way for folk rock to emerge in his wake.
I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
Bringing it all.
Okay, that one on my list, it doesn't make it for me because I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. I don't like Bob Dylan. Great songwriter. I hate his voice. It sounds like he's trying to sing through a freaking harmonica. I know he plays harmonica too, but it sounds like he's singing through one. I hate his voice. Can't stand it. Great songwriter though. no doubt.
Back Home is very much emblematic of this fusion. An outstanding combination of musicality, songcraft, and charm that reveals just as much poignancy on the 50th listen as the first.
It's alright, Ma. I'm only sighing.
Number 5. Nevermind, Nirvana. There are a number of factors that went into the eventual decline in public favor for the hair metal that once ruled 1980s airwaves. 1991's Nevermind is often cited as a death knell for that genre, and a signal for the emergence of a new musical trend, grunge. Setting aside for a moment the fact that grunge's anti-image was in fact a cultivated image in and of itself.
Okay, as far as a music changer, absolutely. Nevermind was a definite music changer. It put a death nail in the coffin of 80s rock. Without a doubt. Whether that was a good thing or not is debatable. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a former, well, I say former, I'm still a metalhead, but, yeah, his great musicianship. Kurt's vocals were off the chain, but yeah, it's a definite music changer, no doubt about it.
Nevermind still stands out for its songwriting. This was an album that took Nirvana's heavy metal, punk, and noise roots and made them palatable for the masses. This was no easy feat, yet there's also no denying how immediate and memorable songs like Come As You Are and Smells Like Teen Spirit were then and are today. Number 4. Pet Sounds, The Beach Boys. One word comes up again and again whenever the subject of pet sounds emerges among rock critics: production. Said quite simply, Pet Sounds changed the game when it came to how rock albums sounded.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long?
Brian Wilson's arrangements and orchestrations made Pet Sounds feel like no other rock LP on the market. As a result, it made the full-length album format feel more vital and encouraged other artists to experiment more in the studio.
Yeah, because back in that day, in the 60s like that, it was a lot more palatable to do singles, right? 50s and 60s were all about singles. There were albums, but it was all about singles. You put out a single and a B-side, that was your hit, you know? And yeah, Pet Sounds definitely changed that. It really brought in the album genres. It was a great album too.
Additionally, the popularity of Pet Sounds made the record-buying public pay more attention to LPs, as opposed to the 45 RPM single that had long ruled the charts. Essentially, the success of Pet Sounds signified that a new era of classic rock radio was on the horizon. Number 3. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is another band that often comes into the conversation when it comes to the progenitors of heavy metal.
Baby, baby, I'm gonna leave you.
Their self-titled
Led Zeppelin was more blues rock than it was metal. But then they were metal, by all means. Great rock songs, great albums. Led Zeppelin 4 is often considered, one of the best albums ever. And the initial album, this one, was a great album as well. Yeah, no doubt. That definitely should be on a top 10.
Debut is still very much steeped in the blues, however, right down to the cover songs included from artists like Willie Dixon. This isn't Chicago blues, however, but an over-amplified and over-sexed British take on the genre that was loud and raw as hell. At the same time, there was an atmosphere of high fantasy present within their lyrics and image. Led Zeppelin was a band that reveled in occult excesses. And albums like this self-titled effort and Led Zeppelin 4 helped make the band into the legends they are today. Number 2, The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
Absolutely no doubt. The Dark Side of the Moon changed the game. It brought in prog rock, number one, and it's still today one of the best-selling albums of all time. I think, if I remember right, coming off of that album, 1973, I think it was it 1998, I think it was, before it actually fell off of the Billboard Hot 200. It was on there that many years. It's the only album ever to do that. Great album. That's a collector's right. If you've got a record collection, that album should be in there. It's a brilliant piece of work.
The progressive rock genre isn't one that's largely known for its commercial successes. There have, however, been outliers over the years.
Taking away the moments that make up a dull day.
Pink Floyd was absolutely one of prog's biggest and most successful bands, with albums like The Wall and 1973's The Dark Side of the Moon serving as cornerstones for the genre.
Money, it's a hit.
Floyd had already moved through early psychedelia and musically complex prog epics on their earlier releases, but The Dark Side of the Moon struck upon a 1970s nerve. The era of drug experimentation had moved beyond hippie subcultures into mainstream rock radio, and Dark Side encouraged legions of listeners to turn on, tune in, and drop out. Before we name our number 1 pick, here are some iconic honorable mentions. Rumors,
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac, The Sweet.
Excellent album. Excellent album. That's another one should be in collectors. If you don't have it in your collection and you are a collector of, classic albums, yeah, you're missing out, because that's a brilliant piece of album. Brilliant piece of work.
Sweet sound of band breakup drama. Van Halen, Van Halen. Arguably the genesis of Sunset Strip glam metal.
The bomb that was that album. That album came out and every musician in the world went, what happened?
Exile on Main Street, The Rolling Stones. Retroactively appreciated.
Okay, that's another one. This is a personal thing by all stretches of the imagination. It's nothing against the Stones themselves. Great band. They've been around a long, long time. I'm not a fan. Never have been. Never will be. Couple of their songs I like, but overall, not a fan at all.
Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen. Anthemic, poetic, and confessional.
Another one. Springsteen. It's a great album. Don't get me wrong. And it was a huge hit for him. I'm not a huge Boss fan, though. Springsteen fan. Personally.
The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars,
Bowie.
David Bowie. A glam rock opera and concept album.
Now Ziggy play guitar, jamming good with weird.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, The Beatles. Some of the greatest pieces of art were divisive in their day. Not everyone was on board with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band back when it was released in 1967.
Okay. This is a tough one as well because I love the Beatles. I think they really changed music when they came to the U.S. here, and they really started selling albums and what have you. Really changed music quite a bit. It really brought it brought FM radio to its peak at the time, right? They did. I don't know that Sgt. Pepper's was that album, though, personally, right? I like Sgt. Pepper's. It's a good album. But I think the White Album would have been better, personally. That's just, my opinion.
Some critics felt that the album's infatuation with artistry led to a case of diminishing returns. The Fab Four had a pop art past, yet Sgt. Pepper's embraced a full concept album structure that made the most out of every production trick available to the Beatles and producer George Martin while in the studio. The 1-2 punch of this album and 1968's Abbey Road helped make rock and roll into something that could change the world. They are true compositional achievements that are envied and copied by artists all the way to the modern day.
Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head.
Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if
Okay. So, yeah, I agree with some of them. Others, yeah, I'm questioning. What do y'all think? You let me know. And if there's something you want us to do, if there's, if you'd like us to break down, pull out and break down some stuff and then do a video on it, we're glad to do that. I'll even edit that one, which we don't do. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Big shout out to Watch Mojo though for their stuff, good stuff. Y'all let me know what you think. Other than that, y'all have an absolutely fantastic day, my friends. So glad you joined us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This is Old Pops. We are out.